Hello, how's everybody doing? Welcome everybody. How do you do? I hope that all is well in your hood. Let's start with libations to our ancestors, guys. Remember, libation can be anything liquid, right? All right, so welcome. So we'll be going filterless and all that stuff. I feel like I got tired of letting the internet put my face on me. So anyways, guys, appreciate your natural beauty, right? I'm not here to say that, but I feel like that's something you got to know. Appreciate your natural beauty because nobody else was born with your face. It took a long line of people getting together. They might have been in love, they might not have been in love, but it took a long time. We're talking about thousands, right, of ancestors who got together, splicing their faces together and making you, right? So what a happy day. I hope you're having a super happy day. I'm here trying to inspire you one moment at a time. If we don't see each other for months, we don't see each other for years, consider it a blessing, right? Because whatever you're doing in life is the correct thing you're doing. Who is in your life, who is not in your life, it's the correct thing. So I just urge you to make positive and healthy choices. Why? Because I'm trying to make positive and healthy choices in my life all the time. And maybe you're a rebel and you need somebody to say, do your worst, go out there and show your ass, and then you'll do the opposite of that. I don't know. But what I do understand is that my position here on earth involves motivation and encouraging through any means necessary. So I'm not going to go through my whole life living how I live, going through all the experiences I went through, to not learn, to not teach. If I don't learn from the wisdom of my elders, will I be wise when I'm an elder? If I don't engage and stimulate the wisdom that's already inside of the youth that comes after me, then I don't even know who I am if I'm not doing that. So, but today's a very important episode. I feel like maybe libations again to the ancestors and the Most High and everything. I'm not going to waste a single moment not doing it, right? Because Mama's thirsty. So, okay. So today I came on to remind you, see, a lot of people might think, if I go this way, they'll say that I look Native American and such, to which I reply, I am native to the Americas. So my face is very indigenous to the Americas. Also, I have ancestry from all over the place, from Europe, Africa, and then we've got the Americas. And so I'm very flattered when people, say that I resemble a Native person. Like, which tribe, where? Because I'm still one of those people that I can, I'm sure you're very observant as well. But if you look and you see and you observe through the colonization that happened when we were not even born, right? None of us agreed to this colonization here. None of us agreed to only speak English. None of us agreed to only speak Spanish. In a world, in a whole Pachamama, where we speak thousands and thousands of languages and dialects, there's no way that you're going to bind my mind by just making me speak English. As if today I'm bilingual, but I'm certainly learning another language so I can be trilingual. Perhaps when I'm a little more mature, I'll gain a fourth language that I want to learn. I might know little bits and pieces from a lot of different languages, but I don't consider myself anything other than a bilingual speaker. Which in my experience makes people more intelligent. The more languages you know, the more intelligent you are. 99% of the time, let me tell you that. I never see like a bilingual person. Well, I could be wrong. I am plenty wrong, because a lot of criminals, you know, they're a part of life. They might be multilingual speakers or not, right? So I think in my head, you know, I don't know if I want to actually look up the statistic to see who's smarter and who makes better choices as far as criminal activity. Do only monolinguistic people, do they end up more in jail? Do they end up more in crimes? I don't know. I'd like to know. It's an interesting conversation starter. So let me know what you think in the comments, and if you do some research, maybe I'll come back and do another episode on that. What is the difference, right, between IQ levels? Because they already talk about how learning more languages make you more intelligent, right? So one very important thing that I'm coming here. Why did I reference myself as looking native when I'm Mexican? But Mexican, really, we're just like a melting pot of a lot of different heritages, forming our heritage. This is my heritage, and the African, even the small Europeans of Europe, the small parts of European in there, and of course the vast majority of the Americas in there. I'm still proud of it all. I wouldn't be me if I didn't have all those genetic quirks or uniquenesses or ancestors, right? If I didn't have the specific ancestors that I have, I wouldn't even look like myself. I probably wouldn't talk like myself 100%. Larynxes, you know, the ones that help us talk, they're unique to us too as individuals, and very unique to us. So our voices are unique. Our larynxes are just, our whole physiology is unique. We might be the same type of human, but we're definitely very unique when it comes different, not less. You know, we might be different, but not less. That's why the whole racism thing is a joke, because we may be different, but we're not less than each other. We're literally all one humankind. And to be fighting up against each other breaks so many covenants we had with our Creator. We said we'd come back and be peaceful and kind and uplift each other. I don't know what's going on, but I'm here to tell you, free everywhere that's in war. Free everyone that's being human trafficked. Free, because I see that what's going on with, you know, ICE and everything. I see it as human trafficking, because they're getting people that are not professionals. Really, they're just, it's kind of like back in the day when they were hunting the Native Americans. They're saying, bring back, I'm sorry, sensitive subject, bring back the scalp of that native. Leave their bodies where they be, because that's where the gold will be. Bring me back the scalp for what, $100, $200, $300, which back then was a lot. Now they're giving thousands for you. We're too brown for town, aren't we? But guess what? There's already a 61% lead on brown people. If we want to talk about like who's what, and I can't be mad, because I'm all parts of this fake racism bullshit that's going on. I can't hate black people because I'm parts of it. I can't hate white people because I'm parts of it. I can't hate Latinos because I'm parts of it. I can't hate the natives that lived all around here, got shipped up and down and all around, so we'd forget we're family. It's not enough. It's not enough for reparations that you still owe people. And who am I talking to? The people, the powers that were, right? And remember, guys, that the pen is mightier than the sword. So I could sit down and write all kinds of stuff. I could write new, just like the people sat down to write the Declaration of Independence. People sat down to write the amendments. People sat down to write the Bill of Rights. We're worth all of that. And as a society, if you live in the United States, we're going to get to what I'm talking about today's topic, because we're talking about native understandings. And also it can be considered indigenous understandings, because it's not just the Native people that Native Americans that think this. It's not that just them. So we're going a little bit off topic. Let's bring it back. Because the most important part here is that it's a game. It's kind of like Monopoly. If someone puts the game of Monopoly in front of your face and you're busy, you have stuff to do, you're working, you're studying, you're into your game, whatever you're doing, somebody comes up and they put a game of Monopoly, it's up to you if you want to play that game. And so such is this game that we play of false illusions, false pain, false inherited traumas. And I don't mean they're false like, oh, don't believe them. No, I'm saying that they were inherited to you and they're false beliefs, right? So now we're going to get into the topic of the 7 before and 7 after. The concept of 7 before and 7 after. Meaning, and I'm sure we brought this up before, but I did a little bit more diving into it, because I was how do you say, after, so I was in a call earlier this week, and a Zoom call, and so I had many people on there, and to this particular time we're sharing personal experiences. One of the other people there, I don't really want to tell you what group it was or anything like that, but so we're discussing just life stuff, right? Personal stuff. And this one person comes on and she identifies as Mexican, and she starts talking about how she likes to learn about the Native side, because obviously she feels like me, I'm not the only one. They separate us because we're family. They wanted us to think that Native American and Mexicans are completely different Native people. They wanted us to think that we're different, so we don't unite. And this Monopoly game that they're trying to play on us, we'll hit eject on that game, put up our own game. Matter of fact, put up a righteous idea. We'll put up constructive, emotional, physical, and spiritual, uplifting. We're gonna, like, you know what I mean? Like, if the let me take you there for a second. Picture it. Earth. Hell planet. Let's just say, I know you look around the world and you're like, oh, this is such a great place. And, oh, it's almost just like heaven. You start singing the Cure song. Just like heaven. You start singing that. Let's imagine for a second, though. We're literally living on a planet that has been conquered by evil. And now there's too many good people to ever be 100% evil on this planet. I believe it's something like 15%. But I'm not even sure, because how to calculate this? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to calculate this. Anyways, guys, so moving on from there, back around to the 7 before and 7 after concept. So it's Native and other indigenous. I'm finding out now that it's other indigenous people beliefs, right? Not just the Native Americans. So basically, this is a powerful and deep topic, right? And I'm reading most of this because I want to get it verbatim. I feel like it's necessary and very important that you hear this, because anything that you do for yourself in this lifetime. Let me say that again, honey, girl, boy, goddess and God alike. You're all the same, right? You don't come from a God and become something else. You're a little God, like God. Okay, so anything you do now for yourself, healing, productivity, investing in your gifts, your talents, your abilities, will serve dividends and will actually, it's a return on your investment, right? I always say anything you invest in yourself is a return on investment for sure. You'll get dividends. So if you heal in this lifetime, if you supersede toxic behaviors, if you supersede family supposed, quote, curses, unquote, if you come above anything that's coming for you and you present something else rather than how your whole family line acts. Let's just say, for example, you know, and I can only use me, myself, my family. I don't like to put people on blast. I like to put myself on blast, right? Before I put anybody's businesses out there, I like to just tell you all about myself, right? So I think it's very important that we recognize, like for myself, I had to recognize my toxic patterns. I had to recognize the trauma that I had as a kid. It still affects me as an adult. If I don't get proper care for this stuff, I absolutely ruin my life. And that's not co-productive to the future person I want to be. Right? So what we want to do is things that really give you purpose, drive, and everything. So if healing yourself is not enough, think about healing yourself in this lifetime heals 7 generations before you and also 7 generations ahead of you. So people that are quite literally not even on the earth yet, they're not even a thought form yet. 7 generations ahead of you, they're not even here. So if we think of time as relative and maybe non-existence and everything is happening all at once, yes, maybe they exist in a super distant future. Just like our ancestors from the past exist in a super distant past, right? So the thing is that we hold epigenetics with these people. Okay, so let's get into epigenetics, because not all of us understand about epigenetics. And you probably, if you do, that's wonderful. Consider yourself an enlightened being on this planet and use all the knowledge you have to heal all the epigenetics you possibly can. So you don't pass it forward, and that you can thank the ancestors for going through what they went through, so that whatever disease, toxic behavior, gift, talent, ability, even sometimes things we don't use gifts because we don't even realize we have them, right? It's like getting a gift from the creator, putting it in the closet. You never open it. You just let it sit there. You're just like, I have that gift. But you're not even using it. It's in the closet. Right? So, I mean, I feel like faith without works is nothing. Intelligence without work is nothing. Motivation without the right aspirations is nothing, right? So to me, healing myself on a profound cell memory level, I find great peace and joy in knowing that I'm not the only one I'm going to heal. I'm going to do it for the people before me. They went through stuff so that it can come to me and I could heal it. In honor of their struggle before me, those people that encountered these things, not that they weren't brave to break them, they didn't understand about epigenetics. And maybe we did at some point, but we were smashed out of knowing, you understand? There's even tribes that lost their complete languages. There's a story about a guy, we're going off topic, but there's a story about a guy who, they found him in the California desert. And he was the last of his tribe. What happened is that, maybe I've told this story before, but what happened is that this tribe was being genocided. I can't sugarcoat it. I'm not here to sugarcoat. No filter anymore on my face. Why should I sugarcoat my words? I never do anyways, right? So what I'm saying is that, so this tribe is being annihilated, and this guy and a bunch of his family and friends, they ran off into the hills and they hid in these like caves or whatever it was. I think he hid in like the forest / caves. It's something where it was so hidden that he actually survived on their own for like 50, 60, 70 years. And this was back in like the late 1800s. And so basically this native guy, he outlives all of the survivors that were hiding in like the forest cave or whatever. He outlives all the survivors, and so what he does is roam out. He comes out of the forest or wherever he was, and he finds civilization, or civilization finds him. And when he comes out, he only speaks his native tongue. He doesn't know English. He doesn't know Spanish, because those are not the native tongues of this land, right? Spanish comes from Spain. English comes from England. So, he spoke his language. Because with his mom died. His dad. He was with his mom as they ran away into the hills. He was with his mom and with like other tribe members and stuff like that. But they eventually all passed on. Just from natural stuff. I don't know. We weren't there, right? His whole story we won't know completely, because there was a huge language barrier until he learned English, and then he told all his story in English. But what had happened is that when the whoever found him, they got really famous. So they found him, and they kind of almost treated him like a circus act. They recorded his language. They made him tell his story. I'm not sure if they didn't speak his language. How did they get him to tell the story? I don't understand a lot of things. But what happened is that he recorded his his language that kind of was smashed out at that point, except for he knew it, And there's a lot of languages that still thrive, because just like this guy, he wasn't the only tribe member of the Americas that went and hid. That we were survivors, much like the Chihuahuas. There's a story about the Chihuahuas. Moving on from that topic, another story about the Chihuahuas is that they were called the Techeche. So the Techeche, they lived in Chihuahua, right? Well, they're predominantly there, right? So, when the conquistadores, when the colonizers came over, right? They were annihilating everything. They were annihilating all the people, all the animals. They didn't give no shits, right? And so the Techeche, the Chihuahuas, being in their wise, spiritual, beautiful selves, before the crazy colonization genocide happened, the Chihuahuas were actually very spiritual and super, like our guardians. They were like our guardians, right? Our guardians against evil, very spiritual animals. And we kept them like a spiritual thing, right? So again, the colonizer wanted to come over here and colonize us into a one form brain pattern thinking, all thinking dumb and alike, and paying 10% to your religious bullshit. I'm not dumb, I can see it all. So the Chihuahua, the ancient Techeche, they went and hid in the forest of Chihuahua, right? And so many of them hid and breeded and survived that for the next 100 years, they repopulated the forest, the mountains of Chihuahua. So when settlers, right, when people started settling this land once again, they discovered the Techeche, and they started calling them Chihuahuas because they were in the mountains of Chihuahua. So anyways, that's what it is, guys. Colonization wanted to break our knowledge to our ancient past. They wanted to break the intelligence, the gifts, the talents, the abilities that our ancestors had. And they wished that our whole family line would only inherit traumas and never get the fuck up again. But too bad, we're here. Newsflash, we're standing up already. We've been stood. We've been standing on all the businesses. You know what I mean? Guys, we're here. I'm queer. You don't have to be, but get used to life as yourself. Just because I identify myself as queer in many ways, right? LGBT community, and queer isn't weird, right? So like the word gay, it means happiness. Before it meant homosexual. And then after this generation took it and made it like a shitty word, it actually means happiness, right? Now it means different things because they add on different definitions, right? Throughout the lifespans, right? And the generations. Let's get back to the epigenetic because this is super powerful. So the seven behind and seven forward is a powerful and deep topic that weaves together ancestry, epigenetics, spiritual gifts, and intergenerational trauma and healing. Let's break it down. To explain clearly, so I have all this written down. So I'm reading. All right. Actually, ChatGPT helped me a lot with this. So let's break it down now. To explain clearly what's meant by the 7 before 7 and 7 before and 7 after, what it means, and how it relates to epigenetic, spiritual gifts, and complex trauma. All right. So the 7 before and 7 after concept, this is a spiritual and ancestral principle often cited in indigenous, African, and First Nations wisdom traditions. It states, you carry the legacy, pain, wisdom, and gifts of at least 7 generations before you. And your choices, healing, and actions will impact the 7 generations that will come after you. It's a sacred timeline of responsibility and inheritance, both biologically and spiritually. So now let's take a look at epigenetics and intergenerational trauma. Epigenetics is the study. Remember, this is very important. You learn epigenetics, you change your whole life. And if you do something about it, you change your whole life. So epigenetics is the study of how behaviors and environments can cause changes that affect the way genes work. Let's say that again. Epigenetics is the study of how behaviors and environments can cause changes that affect the way genes work. So literally, behaviors, epigenetics, and environment affects how our genes work, how our individual genes, genetics work. All right. Without altering the DNA sequence itself. Now, you don't have to change anything because it's already there. The trauma is there. The epigenetics is there. Trauma's passed down. Thank you, ancestor. But they also pass down gifts, talents, and abilities. Remember that. So I'm really thankful, because what if these issues never came and met me? I would have never met the resolution to heal them. Right? So I've got to even be grateful for encountering these things that encountered my ancestors, and in such a way it affected their genetics and their DNA that they passed it on to me. So I'm grateful to heal for the family. If it starts with me, let it start and let it keep going all the way down to the first generation, to the very last ones. But I will be forever and ever and ever and ever. So let us all just be happy, right? And that's the thing, guys. Learning more about yourself, learning more about your family and trauma and whatever else that lives in your life. Even learning why you're so happy. I need to learn why I'm always so happy. I feel like have an inquisitive mind. Let's get back to this. So these changes can be These changes can be passed on to future generations. Okay? So now we already know this. Epigenetics can be passed down to future generations. It doesn't necessarily change the DNA, but it affects the DNA. All right. So trauma, especially chronic, systemic, genocide, colonization, war, or abuse can alter gene expression. Now, this is for education and entertainment purposes only, guys. Do your own research, do all your stuff. I'm literally quoting definitions off of the internet from a reliable source. So, okay, trauma, especially if, I'm going to have to say this one more time because this is so impactful, guys. Why do you think I talk about the colonization so much? Because systemic traumatization even affects your DNA. There's no way you're not going to tell us that there's an effect. Because I'm here clearing, healing, and transmuting it. So I make sure that I use it for something positive. Instead of blow up and become a Hitler on Earth. We don't want another Hitler on Earth. Boo Hitlers, boo. Boo Nazis, boo. We wish you would disappear. If I had a wishing power to make all Nazis disappear, Nazi scum. Anyways, in all races, in all human traffickers, in all people who start war, disappear. I wish you would disappear. Let us all be happy on earth. All we want is like peace and unity with all brotherhood and sisterhood. Y'all making us think we want to fight. No, we don't want to fight. We fight because we're mad because of all the bullshit. Let us try to be happy. Happiness. We deserve it. So, all right. So now we know that it can alter your gene expression. So let me say it again. Trauma, especially chronic, systemic, or ancestral trauma, like slavery, genocide, colonization, war, or abuse, can alter gene expression. How your gene expresses itself, or lack thereof. So listen, these trauma markers can be inherited, meaning a grandchild can carry the emotional or physical imprint of something their great-grandparent did, right? So a grandchild can carry the emotional or physical imprint of something their great-grandparent experienced, even if they never knew them, right? According to epigenetic studies. So this explains, this explains how you might, 1, carry anxiety, fear, or even physical illness tied to unresolved past trauma, right? Also, inherit resilience. Listen to this. This is where it gets amazing. Listen to this. Also, inherited resilience. Now, honey, because our ancestors went through all this genocide, slavery, systematic trauma and torture, all this stuff, we get to inherit resilience. We are the product of the people of survival. We might have seen some family die. We might have seen some family be genocided. But we are the ancestors of those ancestors that survived. We are far more than resilient. They wished our ancestors didn't survive so that we wouldn't be this resilient. Too bad. Newsflash. This war's already been won, and it's sad that they put up a fight, because then they're just gonna get all their karma, right? It's like that girl from Paramore said. Yeah, that girl from Paramore. She said, "The South will not rise again until it's paid for all its sins." Libations, let's pay libations to the ancestors on the other side, helping us, dominating the spiritual world, using all their spiritual prowess and power to do what they can for us on that side, and let them whisper into our hearts with the knowledge that we need to do something for them on this side. What is it, ancestors, that you need us to do for you? I am bored with my personal human plight. Let me handle shit for you. Y'all didn't know, though. Y'all didn't know. So I'm coming to encourage you to do all kinds of powerful things with your family line, with your spiritual line, and everything that came to tap itself into you, whether it's a power or it's the complete opposite. Whether it's a terrible habit, whether it's a toxic trait of yours, I'm here to tell you that you can defeat it. How do I know? Because I've defeated a lot of shit in my life, right? And if you want to know all about me, go back to all the videos and look at the caption. You'll learn all about me. But you know where I stand. I've survived multiple suicide attempts. Right? That I'm kind of almost feel like I'm still angry that I survived, because not that I'm suicidal anymore. I'm not. No, I don't have suicidations. I don't entertain them anymore. They are not part of my life anymore. But I am 18 years removed from the last time I attempted a suicide. So, blessed by the hands of the Creator, I'm alive. I see the hands of life constantly drawing me back, giving me breath, and aligning me with itself, with Source. I love to be aligned with Source because it knows no wrong. I mean, even... yeah, sure, you know, people may be born with deformities, such deformities that we call them. What if we're the deformity and the people coming out with the deformity are the normal? I don't know. But what I know is that in God's infinite, or creators, or the universe's infinite creationship with us, you know, we've got the Solfeggio sequence, we've got Fibonacci sequence. It creates in patterns and waves and beautificus. It just does the most beautiful stuff. because I'm taking a look at you, and I'm not talking about myself. I'm taking a look at you every time, and I see beauty. You have to find beauty everywhere you go, and you don't have to. You don't have to. But I dare you to find beauty everywhere you go, and anyone you see, and in everything you find. Dare to find the beauty in it, and your beautiful eyes will be turned more divine. I'm telling you what, if you look at everything like a hope and expectation of a sign that somewhere the ancestors or the creator is directly speaking to you through the flowers, but you need to silence your mind because they're not speaking with words. So let's move on. So guys, remember that this explains, we're talking about epigenetics again, we're going to finish it up. So this explains why you might carry anxiety, fear, or even physical illness tied to unresolved past trauma. I'm repeating this twice. Also, inherited resilience. This is where we stopped. Also, inherited resilience, spiritual insight, or heightened intuition born from ancestral survival or spiritual practices. Woo! I say, well. Couldn't be anything more pleasurable to my ears to hear. That means, yes, they might have passed on the traumas, but it's like nothing. It's like bumping your knee up against the wall. It's nothing compared to what they left you as far as resilience. You know how many genocides and you know how many COVID whatever bullshit, that was on our first pandemic as humans on the planet. You know that, right? Go up and look. I know you know. I know you're not stupid. I know you know. And even if you didn't know, you're not stupid. You're just not informed. So let's keep going. So spiritual and because there's a point to this episode. I'm not just trying to rile you up about all this fucking trauma and inherited resilience that you have. No, I'm telling you that you can fix a lot of things. If there's something that you haven't fixed in this life, dare yourself to fix it. Because you're not just helping yourself. You're helping 7 generations before you and 7 generations after. If you don't matter to yourself, I hope those 14 generations separate from you matter. So, spiritual and physical gifts through the generations. From a spiritual and esoteric lens, now we're getting into this because it's important. Ancestral energy does not only pass down wounds, it also passes down gifts, such as, remember this, always remember that it's not just wounds and traumas, right, from your great-grammy, from your great-great-grammy, great-great-grandpa, right? Tatarabuelos and all of them. So spiritual gifts. Intuition, this is what you could have been passed on, inherited. You are inheriting this from your ancestors. So intuition, clairvoyance, you might be inheriting this, right? Not every family structure is the same. Not every gift in a family is the same. Many gifts in some family, one gift in one. Who am I to say and judge how many is right or how many should be a part of your family? It just is. So we have mediumship, ancestral line, especially ones deeply spiritual or connected to the land, often pass down these gifts. Healing abilities, herbal knowledge, energy healing, shamanic abilities, dream work, and prophetic insight, often inherited through maternal or paternal lineages. Most obviously, right? So, music, art, sacred creativity, deep forms of expression that carry healing. Remember, epigenetics also passes down music, art. If you're musical, if you're artistic, 100% chance there was an ancestor that was like that. 100% chance. Now, remember that it also says sacred creativity, because I believe creativity is so sacred. Creativity can lead one away from mental health diseases. Creativity can bring one closer to spirituality. And spirituality will bring one closer to creativity because we're from a creator that creates. And so it is innate in us. We inherit this urge to create. Not all of us create. We don't have the urge. We go out and create happiness. We create service. We create good helpers in ourselves, and we go out and help society. Whatever you may be doing, check yourself before you wreck yourself. I always encourage you to develop all your gifts, your talents, your abilities, because I don't know if you don't develop your gifts, your talents, if you don't express them sacredly at some point. I'm not saying get on YouTube, everybody, and start singing songs. No, because we're not all made to do the same stuff, right? I come from a musically inclined family. I come from a very artistic family, very spiritual family. So all of that I'm inclined to do. I inherited the resilience to have this unwavering faith. And I don't need religion to tell me and to update me about a monotheistic God, because I actually am more of a plural believer, right? I believe in Shiva, you know what I mean? I believe in Govinda. I also believe in Jeb and Newt and Ma'at, you know what I mean? So it is what it is, guys. And in a country with religious freedom, I can be any religion I want, even if I don't want to be a religion. You don't get to tell me, right? So back to this. Music, art, and sacred creativity. Deep forms of expression that carry healing. And we're going to power through this, okay, guys, because we're almost done. Physical biology. It also passes down physical and biological gifts. We keep talking about resilience. What is resilience? The stamina, the determination, the oomph to keep going. So, and resilience and endurance, embodied survival capacity, right? What have you gone through that no one else could have? So immunity and strength. Pat yourself on the back. Immunity and strength. Even it is an inherited and beautiful gift from our ancestors. They survived things. And so they passed on genes and antibodies that help us survive things. So immunity and strength. Some descendants inherit immune advantages due to ancestral exposure to harsh conditions. So every day, all the time, when you wake up healthy, thank your ancestors for having to go through all their struggles. Even diseases that might have hurt them in their lifetime are making us stronger. You understand? So let me finish. Embodied memory, unexplained abilities, skills, and instinct. Who has such good instincts? They're like, no one's gonna fool me. Well, that's life. That's your inherited, instincts. Some people have skills and abilities that are inherited from their ancestors, right? So embrace them. You don't have to become it. You don't have to do what your ancestors did, especially the trauma, especially the toxic. You don't have to do any of that. You can rewrite your own story. A lot of us, and the majority of the rule is, we look for our family. When we grow up and become adults, we look for our family in our friendship situations or wherever we're at, right? And I encourage you, if you come from a toxic home or something like that, I encourage you to find the sweetest, most loving approach to life. Be kind to yourself first and foremost. Wake yourself up and tell yourself you love yourself, and start doing all these affirmations that you know is going to turn your head around. Today's going to be one of the most beautiful days of my life, and I know so. The little things like that can change your life. Start the I am worthy challenge. You feel like you have a low self-esteem? Start the I am worthy challenge for the next 60 days. Even start with 30 days. And then when you get to 30, double it and go to 60. Say I am worthy 10 times. Do that like at least 5 times a day, right? So you'll be doing it 50 times. I am worthy. I am worthy. I am worthy. Put it into a song. I don't care what you do. Repeat it and repeat it until you absolutely believe it. Remember that low self-esteem could also be inherited, right? So now we're going to teach ourselves to have the highest self-esteem we ever can, so that it resonates with all of our family, okay? So, and if, of course, you're part of my family, I thank you so much for showing up in our lifetime. You could have been on any planet, anywhere, anytime, and you're here with us. And so very grateful. I'm super grateful for my family. Any little step in healing I do for myself, I'm taking a giant one for my family, because who doesn't want to see their family heal, right? And knowing that I can help we can help 7 generations before and 7 generations after, it makes me feel like no other feeling in the world, and it's just wonderful, right? So so we're gonna finish now. So integration, healing the 7 generations before and after. When someone consciously heals their trauma, they do not heal alone. You heal backward, releasing and honoring the burdens of your ancestors. So beautiful. You heal forward, preventing those same burdens from unconsciously continuing into your children, nieces, nephews, or soul tribe. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Libations to the ancestors again. All right, so that's beautiful, guys. You know, one of the reasons I started making videos, I was just like, I like to tell people stuff, but I'm tired of repeating so much shit. So in part, you know, I make videos for my nieces and nephews, for the family that are friends out there, and that they consider me a wise storyteller, and they learn a lot from me. I love that, right? When we all can learn from each other. I also do this stuff for like my brothers and stuff like that, and I don't know if all of them watch it. Some of them do, and that's all wonderful. Anytime we find each other, know that I'm going to encourage and motivate you into your highest self, because I think that's where we should be, on the top shelf. Okay, we put everybody else on a pedestal. Now we got to put ourselves on a pedestal and act accordingly, right? So let's finish up. When someone consciously heals their trauma, I'm repeating this again, they do not heal alone. You heal backward, you heal forward. Yeah. So I'm not making fun. I'm just being serious. So I'm being silly. This makes your inner work radically sacred through practices like shadow work, inner child healing, ancestral rituals, offerings, like libations, and when we toke up and incense and all that stuff, right? So somatic and traumatic trauma release. Somatic trauma release, what is that? It's like a breathing exercises, and sometimes movement to release a lot of trauma, to release pent-up emotions, what have you, whatever is blocking itself in you or staying stagnant. So reconnection to land or indigenous wisdom, breaking cycles of abuse or silence. You hear that? Breaking cycles of abuse or silence. I encourage you, have the faith, be brave, be the bravest, be Godzilla, be your Godzilla self. So breaking cycles of abuse or silence, you become the turning point in a 14-generation legacy. Just do that. Open yourself, become the turning point in a 14-generation legacy. Let the 7 generations from now, let them be talking about you like, oh, that ancestor was so wise. I'm so glad they stepped up to the healing plate, because man, I don't want to go through that. I know if I encounter that, I'm immediately getting it with this, because I have it in my epigenetics. And oh my God, they also just led this family legacy that I can never stop. I will be dishonoring my ancestors if I stop. Right? So guys, you only live one time a day. You only live all day long. You die once. Before you die, before you kick the bucket. Now remember, guys, we're living in the generations that they say that we're going to live, and it's going to look like we're immortal, but it's just because technology is advancing so fast, so high, so awesome. So remember, in this time where the generation curses can be broken with you, baby, with you, let them end with you. Start a legacy with you. You don't think it'll be a big deal? Trust me, your ancestors are watching. Your ancestors care, and your ancestors are behind you more than you'll ever. If you need a whole like reassurance, if you need like somebody to tell you, there's probably more than 999 ancestors hanging around you right now, because all the generations that came before you, that's a lot. Right? All right, guys. So, that's it. That's it, pretty much. Okay, so, lastly, if you'd like to heal from all this stuff, remember that meditation is huge. Singing, dancing is huge. It can heal you. Humming can heal you, guys. Humming decalcifies the brain, right? You're precious. You're too precious not to work on yourself. You're too precious not to give a fuck about yourself. I'm telling you, it's like, I feel like Sabrina Carpenter all the time. Not like pretty or anything. Not like that. Not like a blonde girl pretty. No. I feel like her when I say my give a fucks are on vacation. Yes, they are. But I have some give a fucks. I have some. I save them for very things that I should give a fuck about. Right? My family, my friends, my career, my education, my pets, my dreams, right? Guilty of wanting to follow all her dreams and make them come true, right, guys? So, don't be too quick to judge yourself or others. We don't know what is going on, guys. Remember, there's a long line of people that came before us that literally passed down their traumas and their inherited resilience and their gifts, their talents, their abilities. So before you focus on the negative, remember that focusing on your gifts, your talents, and your abilities will probably, most likely, 100% heal your traumas, right? So if you're ready to heal, take a big step for yourself. Take a larger step for your family. And do your thing. You can do this. I believe in you. You're worthy. You're loved. Stay well.